Hi everybody, it's Tatiana, and today I'm coming with the book review. I want to apologize before I start because I don't know how it sounds to you all, but I am sick, and so my voice has like this undertone of a smoker. I don't know, but to me I sound like somebody who's been smoking for 40 years, a pack a day. So I want to apologize for my voice before I get started, but today I'm going to do a review of Interview with the Vampire by Anne Rice. I've watched the movie, I know, a good 100 times, and I just never felt the need to read the book. But I just decided that I really should read the book, considering the fact that I've read the other two. And I must say, after reading this book, I need to reread The Vampire Lestat. I read that, I think, when I was in middle school or just beginning high school, and I do not remember that much of it well. This was even more gripping and engaging than the movie, which I absolutely adore. It is one of my most favorite horror films of all time. This book, even though it took me forever to read it, and thank you to those who responded to my question for letting me know that I am not alone. It takes you all a while to read, to get through an Anne Rice novel as well. Thank you so much. It makes me feel so much better knowing that either I'm not crazy or y'all are just as crazy as I am. But it took, even though it took me so long to read it, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I looked at things a lot differently than after reading the book than how I looked at them in the movie. I felt absolutely no compassion for Lestat in the movie. I actually felt compassion for Lestat in reading this novel, even getting beyond the underhandedness and just the meanness that exists within him. I really felt compassion for Lestat. Louis is such a great storyteller. I mean, it read so well, and reading this from, of course, the perspective of Louis and everything that went into it, and the difference of the different kind of vampire that Louis is. And if you've never read the book or haven't seen the movie, I don't want to spoil anything for you. If you've never seen the movie, please crawl out from under your rock. There's nothing but bugs and grubs down there. It's disgusting. Get out from under the rock and watch the movie. But one of the things that Louis says over and over again is that he was never cut out. He was, never the type of person who was cut out to be a vampire. But of course, he learns that much too late. And I spent a lot of time annoyed with him because he just, like, everything that it took to exist, he couldn't do it. And yet he continued to exist. But the compassion and the love for humanity that Louis has comes across much more in the book than it does in the movie. And I think the movie does a very good job of showing that as well. In fact, that was part of my issue with the movie, is that Louis had not necessarily a romanticized view of humanity, because he was much closer to being human than Lestat ever was, but it seemed like he had such a greater understanding and care for and respect for human life than Lestat had, and Lestat was just so crass to it. After reading the book, I understand now that it really wasn't Lestat being crass. It was something different that I kind of don't want to spoil. So one of the things that really made a difference in reading the novel versus watching the movie is reconciling Claudia, and the fact that Claudia is a century-old vampire as the story progresses, yet still in the body of a 5-year-old, and she has the emotions and expressions of a full-grown woman, but she's in the body of a 5-year-old, and having to reconcile that, which was difficult to do in the movie, because in the movie all I'm seeing is Kirsten Dunst, and even though I'm understanding in the movie that all of these years are passing, I'm still only seeing Kirsten Dunst. And so to read it as it's supposed to be read and come to the understanding of Claudia as a century-old vampire trapped in the body of a 5-year-old, and seeing the much more complex relationship that she and Louis had through the course of the novel really made a difference in how this whole world basically has played out before my eyes, in my imagination as I'm watching the movie. It just made a complete change in how everything comes together. This novel is beautifully written. It is engrossing and hypnotic. There's so much that goes into this, and the emotion that's put behind this that comes across so well on the page. It's a work of art. I am so glad that I finally read it. I'm glad that I waited as long as I did to read it, because I don't think if I had started reading it or read it when I was in middle school or high school like I did with the Vampire Lestat, I think I would be in the same position that I'm in right now with having to read the Vampire Lestat over again. So I'm going to stop, because I could probably continue to ramble about this. I'm just going to stop, and that's going to be the end of my review, and I hope you all have a good weekend whenever you see this video. Peace out.